Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Trump and Zelensky high-stakes meeting. Let's see here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the... We don't want to play that again, sorry. What's going on, everybody? How we doing? Pull this down. Alrighty, here we go. Can you guys hear me fine? Shannon, thank you for becoming a tadpole, Shannon. I really appreciate you. Hold on, something's messed up in my headset here. Testing. Yeah, that should be good. Wenchy, thank you for being a member for 6 months. Appreciate you. Hubbub, thank you for being a member for 5 months. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you guys that are members. All right, let's pull this up. We don't want to waste any time here. They're obviously showing stuff already. So let's get started right away here. We do not... I don't really want to watch this. This broadcast live.
In other news.
All right, we got this pulled up. Going to watch this together today. Who's nervous about this? I'm pretty nervous. I'm pretty nervous myself. No, we were live on TikTok this morning, dunked on some people, but we came on to do this. No, I wish I had more Skittles. I don't. I really wish I had more Skittles. I'm pissed that I don't. Why'd you have to remind me? Let's listen in here. What's going on? Well, this is a very important meeting, right? This is super important. Hey, Will, thank you for becoming a tadpole. Appreciate you, bro. Let's get some feelings in chat. What's everyone feeling today? Nervous? Not nervous? Missed you on TikTok this morning, but happy I'm able to catch you here. Well, thank you for catching me here, at least, Carly. I was on TikTok. It was a little bit of a shorter stream today because... I had something I had to do this morning, but... All right, let me, real quick, I'm just going to turn my air on real quick. 1 second. 1 second, everybody. I'm pretty worried about it. So the rumor is that our allies were there and their presence has everything to do with Zelensky being bullied. For anyone who doesn't know, our allies are supposedly there to prevent Zelensky from being bullied. Trump and Marco Rubio denied this claim. They said that's not at all why they're coming. But word on the street is it has everything to do with what happened in the Oval Office last time. Now, I think everyone in here knows, that's been paying attention to all of this, knows damn well that Donald Trump will bully them regardless. So this could turn into an ugly situation quickly. So I am obviously concerned about it. It's obviously very important. Heard some leaks this morning about security assurances and some things like that, never joining NATO. things like that. Deb, thank you so much for the Venmo, Deb. I really appreciate that, Deb. Thank you so much. Seriously. Thank you, Deb. Deb in the chat. Thank you so much, Deb. I really appreciate that. Trump and Rubio must think we're stupid. Yeah, well, they just lie. They lie all the time. They're habitual liars. Pathological liars. This is the view that we have right now. Let's rewind a second.
Okay, copy on that. All right. Gotcha.
And see if we can watch the people walk in. We're waiting for this to start, but we're gonna take a second to watch people walk in
Ready,
here.
two. Ready, doors. Ready, pop. Ready, open.
No, we saw what happened with Macron the last time. Do you remember? Macron literally had to, like, gentle parent him because he was trying to talk on something he didn't know what the fuck he was talking about, as usual. Tiffany, thank you so much for being a member for 5 months. Feeling nervous and realizing how much I've been hiding myself from shitty news, but we can't do that or we will continue to lose more of our rights. Big facts. We can't. We can't. We have to absorb it. Amy Doing, thank you so much for becoming a tadpole, Amy. I appreciate you, Amy. Appreciate you, Amy. I didn't know. Shazam, what's going on?
Ready, two. Ready, face.
Do you think Trump's going to have a Big Mac for all the world leaders there? Trump's going to have a Big Mac for all of the world leaders. Everyone gets a Big Mac meal deal. A large Big Mac, a large fry.
I'll sit. Okay.
Didn't Trump say one time they let him supersize the fries if he orders them to? I didn't even know they did that anymore. Yep, I've been on YouTube for 6 months now. Dawn, thank you for being a member for 6 months. Yep, 6 months on the YouTube now. I don't know. Let's we can fast forward a little bit here. We're basically waiting for
Ready,
this
doors. Ready, pop.
meeting
Ready,
to
open.
start here. 1 o'clock.
Ready, close.
Can someone tell me who that is greeting him here? I can't recognize who that is. Anyone in the chat, who's greeting there? Who is that? Clara, thank you for being a member for 5 months. Thanks, Clara. Appreciate it.
Italy's next.
No, but did you guys see Newsom's thing that I posted on Instagram?
Is Italy next?
Where he posted Kid Rock. Newsom posted Kid Rock, Hulk Hogan, and Tucker Carlson praying over his shoulder. Like Trump does. I know it did look like Kellyanne Conway, didn't it? That can't be who it was, though, right? I don't know who the fuck it is.
If Germany's next, stay here for Germany. Yeah. Simon asks that you and Simon.
That's Kellyanne Conway? Why the fuck would she be doing that? Let's bounce around here and see what other networks are broadcasting here. I know that Republican right side network. All right, let's see what Fox News is saying about this shit.
All right, this
I'm
feels
curious
almost...
what Fox News is saying, everybody. Let's take a listen and see what Fox News has to say, just out of curiosity.
Days after the president's Alaska summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin, President Trump
We're
saying
just minutes
the
away,
two of them
everybody.
did make
So
some significant progress, and the
hit
ball
the heart
is
me
now in
button.
Zelensky's court.
Contribute to the
The
gifting
president
goal.
writing
All
on
of
Truth
those things
Social ahead of
help.
this.
There is a goal up there where you can send a super chat and ask a question. Indiana girl, thank you for becoming a tadpole.
This
Appreciate
afternoon
you.
sit down. It says this. President Zelensky of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to, or he can continue to fight. Remember how it started. No getting back Obama given Crimea 12 years ago without a shot being fired. And no going into NATO by Ukraine. Some things never change. Triple exclamation point.
And Jackie Heinrich is joining us live at the White House this morning with more on this. Hi, Jackie.
Good morning to you guys. There are some signs that Ukraine might be having a hard time backing off its demand for a ceasefire as a condition for peace talks after a series of deadly overnight Russian strikes. Zelensky's chief of staff posted in reaction to those attacks that a ceasefire is essential. President Trump went into this summit on Friday seeking a
Sheffy, thank you for the $5 super chat, bro. Appreciate you.
ceasefire,
Appreciate
but
you,
said
Sheffy.
afterward that everyone, including the Europeans and Ukraine, agree that a ceasefire might not hold up.
Has always talked about a ceasefire until he made a lot of different wins in this meeting and began to realize that we could be talking about a peace deal. The ultimate deal here is a peace deal. And we were talking about much more robust security guarantees.
Does anyone actually in here believe that we're right around the corner from a peace deal? I can't see that happening. Anything, I think, that even temporary is not going to hold up. Putin, especially without any assurances, Putin will, and by the way, if Putin feels like it, which he very typically does, he'll just claim that Ukraine did something to undermine that agreement, and he'll continue to attack. He's a liar. So.
Than anyone ever imagined before.
Zelensky, who is already in D.C., said the Russian
Zelensky has so much pressure on him right now. I mean, I can't even imagine the weight on his shoulders.
strikes ahead of today's meeting are symbolic, and, quote, Putin will commit demonstrative killings to maintain pressure on Ukraine and Europe, as well as to humiliate diplomatic efforts. That is precisely why we are seeking assistance to put an end to the killings. That is why reliable security guarantees are required. That is why Russia should not be rewarded for its participation in this war. That last line could be a sign that Zelensky is rejecting Putin's proposal to freeze the front line if Ukraine hands over control of the Donbas region, which Russia has not been able to conquer militarily. It is headquarters for Ukraine's forces in the east, and it's home to key parts of its industrial defense base. Analysts have warned giving that up might give Russia a huge advantage, which makes President Trump's openness to U.S. involvement in security guarantees even more critical. Zelensky warned in a post yesterday Ukraine was given, quote, so-called security guarantees in 1994, but they didn't work, and Russia instead used the territory they gave up as a springboard for a new attack. But European leaders see the U.S. offer to back security guarantees as invaluable with this war happening in their backyard.
Let's be frank, this is not our war. The United States is not in a war. Ukraine is in a war, and we've been supporting Ukraine. If tomorrow the war continues, life in America will not be fundamentally altered. So I think that what we have to understand is that this has been a priority for this president because he wants to promote peace.
White House officials have emphasized that everyone is going to
That is not why President Trump wants to do it. That's not what our intelligence agencies are telling us in terms of how it could affect the United States. Let me be clear, just to correct that, because that is so wrong what he just said. This absolutely affects the United States. Let me be clear to everyone in here, and I'm sure most of you know this already. Poland is a NATO ally that borders Ukraine. If Russia in any way attacks Poland, it's on, like Donkey Kong. We're talking about full-fledged world war. That's Article 5 of the NATO agreement. We will go to war. Plain and simple. It absolutely does affect the United States. Marco's a liar, trying to downplay the significance of what's happening in Ukraine. If the war continues, look, it's already like he's kind of trying to get us to get used to the idea that they're not going to be able to resolve this. Oh, the president's just trying to stop it because he cares about human life. Meanwhile, he just stripped health care away from 17 million Americans. He cares about human life. but he's federalizing and criminalizing poverty. He cares about human life, but he's deporting people to prisons known for their human rights violations. He cares about human life. Give me a break. Katie, thank you for the $5 super chat, Katie. Appreciate you, Katie. King Ferret says, I don't see Trump honoring Article 5. So that's a good point. That being said, if he didn't honor Article 5, we're fucked. Trump was asked on a plane recently about Article 5. Do you know what his answer was? Well, it depends on what your interpretation is of Article 5. What? Your interpretation? No, it's pretty clear.
To give something up in this negotiation. So it looks like the topic today is going to be, what exactly is that? Bill and Dana.
And Jackie, what is the White House's response to criticism that Trump basically gave Putin a platform, pulled him out of isolation, and didn't get much for it?
You know, they rejected that criticism even before the meeting, saying in the first term, President Trump met with Kim Jong-un 3 times. He's still very isolated. He engaged with the Iranians directly, which is not something you usually do, offered them a deal. When they rejected it, he bombed them, took out their nuclear program. So he is willing to sit across from whoever he needs to try to get this done. And also, the Europeans see the offer for security guarantees as a very material success of that meeting. So they reject that flat out. Dana.
Okay, Jackie Heinrich, thank you so much.
I still can't get over that they gave the guy that's responsible for ethnic cleansing in Ukraine, the guy's responsible for literally ordering war crimes a red carpet. But the United States is making that a trend. They're making that who they are. If you don't think the rest of the world is paying attention to the United States laying out the red carpet for people who international courts have determined are war criminals, they are.
Day at the White House, indeed. And Rebecca Heinrichs is a national security analyst and senior fellow at the Hudson Institute. She joins us now. Great to have you, Rebecca. Your top line thoughts as we head into a very busy day.
Well, all right, I've heard enough of the Fox News clowns. Let's scroll around and see what else is happening here. This was the other breaking news that happened this morning.
Just a few hours, President Trump will welcome Ukrainian President Zelensky and several top European leaders to the White House. The purpose, try to find a path to ending Russia's war in Ukraine. And it comes just days after, as we all watch, the president met with the other key party in all of this, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and that red carpet treatment was quite the
I watch all news. I absorb all news.
Contrast to the tense reception that Zelensky received at the White House the last time he was there back in February. For Zelensky, today's Oval Office visit is a chance for a do-over, a redo, a reset, if you will. But he may not like the terms that are being laid out before him as he's about to walk in. Overnight, President Trump wrote on social media that Zelensky could end the war almost immediately, which Putin started by...
What did I say, guys, the other day?
Giving up Ukraine's claim to Crimea and its hopes of joining NATO. And this
is how this is going to go. We're putting Zelensky's going to be the bad guy that won't accept the unreasonable deal that Russia's trying to give him.
The message from Russia.
Do you know whose demands should be met here? Ukraine's.
Overnight, Moscow launching a new series of attacks, a new series of strikes that hit a residential building, killing at least 7 people, including a toddler. President Zelensky posted that this kind of attack is exactly why Ukraine needs security guarantees as part of any deal in order to make sure Putin actually...
Yeah, well, I hope that doesn't happen, Shonda. But again, I don't know. I feel like Trump intends on doing the same thing.
Stop
That's why I think
and
this
not
could get
relaunch
ugly,
a new war just after. CNN's Elena Treen standing by at the White House, where it really is about to get underway, all of this in this series of meetings that will be happening. What's the very latest you're hearing from there?
We're just minutes away here, folks.
This is going to be very crucial, Kate, to how this moves forward. And I think one key that is very much clear from the United States side.
Yeah, for Ukraine should not. And I hope that Zelensky understands that the American people understand. You know, Trump tries to give this perception that people are just tired of it.
is that the president wants to try to end this war as quickly and swiftly as possible. That's why we've seen him move at great speed to try and organize these types of meetings. However, what's unclear is whether or not Zelensky, but also the 7 European leaders who are going to be joining him today to meet with President Trump are willing to make the same type of concessions that President Donald Trump is. One of that is, of course, the message we saw the president lay out last night. He essentially said in order to end the war, Ukraine must be willing to give up Crimea, a territory that, in order to
Trump
end
is
the war,
greeting Zelensky in 9 minutes.
Ukraine must be willing to give up Crimea, a territory that Russia, I'd remind you, illegally annexed in 2014, and also agree not to become a member of NATO. Those are among the conditions.
So exactly what we thought. No going into NATO by Ukraine, which is crazy. And no getting back Obama given Crimea, which is such an asshole thing to say in a time like this. Obama given Crimea. What a jerk. And no going into NATO by Ukraine. Some things never change. Russia almost immediately, if he wants to, or he can continue to fight. Remember how it started? He's putting the pressure on Zelensky. This is not going to end well, folks. I'm telling you right now. I do not like what I'm seeing here. This is exactly like we talked about. If you guys remember 2 days ago on YouTube and on TikTok, we talked about the fact they will turn this around and make it look like Zelensky's refusing to accept a very common sense deal that will end this war today. He could end this war today, as if the United States would accept anything less than get the fuck out of our country if we were invaded. The United States would accept nothing less than you leaving if you ever decided to invade the United States. But we expect other countries to make concessions. What a joke.
Conditions we know that Vladimir Putin laid out on Friday that he believes are necessary in order to reach a peace deal. But there is also a bright spot for Ukraine. We did hear yesterday from Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. He was on CNN saying that Russia is willing to accept security guarantees, and we have heard from our reporting, particularly on from some European leaders, that the U.S. is.
Do you hear the language being used? Russia's willing to accept security guarantees. It's not up security guarantees. Except that's a situation between us and Ukraine and NATO and Ukraine. That has nothing to do with Putin. He's not a member of NATO. He doesn't tell these countries what to do. You're giving him power by letting him decide who does and who doesn't join NATO. Let me be super clear. Putin isn't a member of NATO. He doesn't have veto power over NATO, and he should not be making decisions on who joins NATO.
Open to being the ones to provide those security guarantees, and
he's so concerned about a NATO country being on his border. Let me lay this out for you guys why that's bullshit. He wants to take Ukraine. Do you understand if he took Ukraine, Poland would be a bordering country there in NATO? So is he going to let Poland be on his border if he takes Ukraine? Poland's a NATO ally. Does that make any sense? Oh, no, he's going to attack them, and he's going to use the exact same excuse he's using right now, that they're a member of NATO and they can't be on our border. They've threatened us. They're whatever.
Had been in the past. One thing as well that
Putin's going to take Russia as far as he can towards recreating the Soviet empire. It has been his goal from the beginning to rebuild the Soviet Union. I always talk about him talking about the collapse of the Soviet Union being the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the century. You don't say that unless you're delusional. He said that, I mean, we're talking about more of a geopolitical catastrophe than the Holocaust. It's an insane statement to make.
I think, of course, is worth noting is that we are now hearing the president say
all right,
that
we're 5 minutes out. I got to go to the live screen now. You can't mess around here. We cannot mess around here. We don't want to miss the initial meeting.
I took control.
Sure that I don't want to miss anything. So I'm pulling up the live broadcast here. I'm sorry to say to everybody in here, I have that song stuck in my head. My hump, my hump, my hump, my hump.
lovely Layla. Check it out.
All right. Looks like they're setting up. Why is it coming in buffered like that? Why is it coming in messed up like that? What the hell? Oh no, we gotta fix it. We gotta bring up a better one. That's not me making it like that. I don't know why it's coming in like that.
On the left of your screen.
This one then.
President Zelensky, 6 months after he was last in Washington and had that fateful meeting with Donald Trump in the White House. We've been seeing European leaders arriving as well there to show solidarity with Ukraine, also to press for strong security guarantees in any post-war settlement. Now, after meeting Vladimir Zelensky, Donald Trump will then meet the leaders of the UK, so Keir Starmer, we saw a short time ago. Also,
guys,
Germany,
contributing
France.
to the gift and goal helps push out the live. I know this is a big meeting. I would appreciate that. Who's this here? Hannah, thank you for the $2 on Cash App, Hannah. I appreciate you.
Motorbikes from what we think is Zelensky's motorcade arriving, although the gates, I'm just looking now, the gates are still shut at the north entrance of the White House, but you can see the Guard of Honor now is there, the Ukrainian flag alongside the Stars and Stripes at the entrance to the West Wing. Of course, the location of the Oval Office where that extraordinary showdown took place back in February. The feel right now is different in one respect, but actually the anticipation and the sense of anticipation here feels very similar. I guess a sense of jeopardy as well, Sam.
Yes, in the White House behind us, in one wing there are 8 European leaders having a buffet lunch, waiting for a moment where President Zelensky arrives. They've been seeing him beforehand, trying to, I think almost you could see it like coach him for his meeting with Donald Trump to make sure that it doesn't end in the same way that it did in February, when it went basically degenerated into a slanging match between President Zelensky, J.D. Vance, the Vice President, and President Trump. But they are in a separate part of the building behind us, having entered through a different entrance.
Misperception.
And now we have, as it were, the main event, which is that bilateral meeting between President Zelensky and Donald Trump. I don't know.
Misperception says Ukraine. Solidarity, absolutely. Thank you, Misperception. Laura Shockley, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, I'm very worried about Zelensky's safety from this point forward. I think we all are. Oh, someone's getting out of the car here. Thank you, Laura. Looks like someone's getting out of the car here.
Eke out from President Trump exactly what his discussions with President Putin on Friday.
Amy, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Appreciate you. Thank you for the coverage. Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
What was the specifics of the discussion that over the weekend allies of Donald Trump claimed amounted to a concession from the Russians? And secondly, that question of territory. Will the Americans try and pressure Ukraine to hand over some territory, maybe even territory it would appear the Russians are demanding that they do not already control? Really difficult, some might think almost intractable issues on the table. But for now, we're just waiting for the arrival of President Zelensky. We don't think that he's actually left the embassy.
Yeah, I got that wrong. I think the motorbikes I heard were one of the other motorcades. You're right, he's still at the embassy.
They're just adjusting some of the guards of honour in order to get the ceremonial side right. Tone and ceremony is so important, but in the end, it's the substance that will determine whether or not we are going to be any closer to a deal by the end of the day.
Yeah, as I say, it looks like Zelensky hasn't actually left the embassy just yet. Sam, in a moment, I just want to ask you, domestically for Keir Starmer, what this means and how important a moment like this is. I mean, he clearly had to come to this, as the other European leaders did as well. But
I paid for my own college, so.
Charcity, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says Slava Ukraine. Absolutely.
Of the whack-a-mole here, on one sense you feel that maybe on Friday Trump had made some progress with Putin because he seemed to be suggesting that Putin seemed to be suggesting that he would be open to some form of security guarantee for.
It must be hell for these guys to stand so still. Just wait like this. They cannot move at all. I kind of hope he doesn't show up as a huge review. I mean, he definitely will show up, but he's... Oh, there we go. There's Zelensky right there, everybody. There's Zelensky right there. Looks like he's leaving the embassy. Right now, Vladimir Zelensky is leaving the embassy on his way to the White House. Christopher, thank you for the 1999 super chat. And that's going to be a base hit to left field. That's going to put his average at 312 on the season. 22 home runs, 86 RBIs. A hell of a player and a hell of a shortstop. When you sorry. Christopher, thank you so much for the super chat, Christopher. Let's frickin' go. 1999 super chat. Let's fucking go. Papa Baggins, are you able to turn up your audio a bit? The news coverage is overwhelming you a bit. Also, Jersey Mike's Original Italian on me. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn their volume down is what I can do. My volume's all the way, though, Papa. But thank you, Papa. Appreciate you. So Zelensky is leaving the embassy, so he's on his way to the White House right now, ladies and gentlemen. And that means he's going to be about 312 on the season. An unbelievable outfielder, an incredible player, can play second base as well, a multi-tool athlete. I mean, we've even seen him at DH this season, right, Bob? Well, absolutely, David. He's just an unbelievable batter. He's got a hell of a swing. And, he gets on base. That's really what matters. This is going to be the 3-2. And he got him on the outside corner. That was a breaking ball in and out. Oh, there he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes. Here he comes. Just a bit inside. It's going to make the count 3-2. Andy, thank you for the $4.99 super chat, Andy. We're just waiting. Zelensky did leave the embassy. He is on his way right now to the White House. So we're just waiting for Zelensky to arrive at the White House. What are we looking for right now? Well, I think one of the biggest things people are looking for is the fact that Zelensky may or may not Be in a suit. Doesn't appear that he was in a suit. I didn't even look. Was he in a suit? Or was he in just somewhat of a more formal attire? Did anyone actually look to see how he was dressed? I didn't even see. Like he had a coat on. Didn't appear that he had looked like he had a suit jacket on or something. I'm not sure. Oh, we're about to see because he's going to be pulling up any second here. This would be such a great way to send a message. Shannon, thank you for the $5 super chat. Shannon says the umpire didn't call the balk. Thank you, Shannon. They don't often call a balk here in the majors. Very limited circumstances where in the major leagues we call a balk. It's going to be that's going to be a strike on the 2-2 count.
Grip, stability, precision. That's the essence of driving. Lawfin.
From hard hats to steel-toed boots, Grainger's got your safety needs covered. Literally. Shop Grainger.
Oh! I almost knocked over my drink. Damn it. What am I drinking? A ginger ale. Corey, it's not about YouTube Premium Pay. I can't use it with Streamlabs. So even if I had it, I couldn't use it. Otherwise, I would have bought it. Bonds now steps up to bat. Denny Cheney, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Sometimes I snort when I laugh, sorry. Ginger ale is the best. So the rest of the leaders are in dining. Are they going to feed Zelensky? Well, they didn't last time, Leanne. They kicked him out. They didn't even let the poor guy eat lunch last time. They kicked him out without lunch. And it really wasn't because Trump was mad. Trump just wanted second helpings. And they were like, well, in order to do that, we have to kick out Zelensky. And he was like, do it. It had nothing to do with the meeting. He just wanted... he wanted second helpings of meatloaf. I don't know what they were having. I think it was like Chilean sea bass or something. How do you subscribe? So Taylor, you have to do it through your browser, because you can't do it through the app. So if you're using the YouTube app, I don't think you can. But if you go to youtube.com, like on your computer, I think you can do it on your phone too. On the front of my page, it will say join. There'll be a join button, and you'll see it. If it's not right down here where the money symbol is, if you click it, it'll say membership, unlock members only perks. Click it, and then it shows your different members. I'm hungry myself, but I haven't eaten since like yesterday afternoon, but I'm going to wait till the stream is over. Can you imagine having to eat a meal with that orange slop? I bet you the food is damn good, though. Trump doesn't eat it. He eats McDonald's, so... Taylor, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Appreciate you, Taylor. Thank you so much. Andy, thank you for being a member for 5 months. Let's go. JD Curry says, what did you have for lunch yesterday, Adam? I had a hot dog, I think. Okay, I'm lying. I had 3. Do I fast? Yeah, I do sometimes. But I've been depressed lately, so I've been eating a lot of good food because it helps my depression. Honey barbecue wings. That sounds amazing, Autumn. Please tell me you dipped them in blue cheese or I'm going to ban you. Okay, come on. How long does it take to get there? What are we in traffic here? Debbie said I ate 2 glizzies yesterday. I don't know, Debbie. That sentence is... I would just say hot dog. You had pepperoni sticks with cheese? Damn, that's really YOLO. I just made a ham pot pie for lunch. You mean a frozen one? You didn't make it from scratch, right? That's what I do, Taylor. I eat my feelings. Nothing wrong with that. Your husband made you a burrito quesadilla? God, W husband. W husband. I want a bacon and blue cheeseburger so bad. Kelly the Short, that sounds amazing. I love a bacon and blue cheeseburger. Hell yeah. Hell to the yeah. Yeah, we talked about that this morning, Tara. He doesn't have any unilateral authority to change state election laws. Lisa, thank you for the $9.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Lisa. Appreciate you. I do not. Here's Trump out front. I don't understand that executive order at all. Lisa, thank you so much for the $9.99 super chat, though. I appreciate you so much, Lisa. Commenting on the executive order, I don't understand how he can unilaterally change a state's election laws. They determine their own election laws. So I don't understand how he can do that. Doesn't even make any sense. Yeah, makes no sense. That executive order just does not make sense to me, but I'll have to research it further. I love...
President Trump, sir, your message to the people of Ukraine as world leaders gather here today. And Russia continues to attack civilians.
Guys, shut up.
Killing many.
Shaking hands. Looks like he's wearing a suit. Oh my God, nope, he's wearing a collared shirt. He's wearing a collared shirt. Oh, he did dress nicer. Yep, he's wearing a suit. It's a very casual black suit. Doesn't have a tie. It appears to have no tie. But he is wearing a black button-down shirt. So just in right now, Zelensky is wearing an all-black suit with a suit jacket. I didn't see a tie, but I may be wrong. I'm not sure. Button-down shirt, though, most definitely has dress pants on. I hate to see him that he's wearing a suit. But yes, Zelensky did, in fact, have formal dress attire on. I wouldn't consider it a full suit, no, but it was definitely much more than he was wearing last time. Like a all-black button-down.
Hot pot.
Wow. That bothers me, and I didn't expect it to bother me. Well, I mean, they were... I mean, we got to be honest, folks. Like, they were really shitting on him for that before. So maybe he just didn't want to deal with any distractions. You know, from Zelensky's point of view, that's probably what happened. But for people just joining, Zelensky was in what appears to be close to a suit, formal dress attire, button-down shirt, all black. He definitely had a suit coat on, dress pants, all black. Can we scroll around and listen to the reaction? Let's listen to the reaction from the right and the left. Hold on. We have an interview here? What's happening? What's happening? Did they actually talk and they got it on film?
Vladimir Putin has put down his price, and his price is 20% of Ukraine and more. So he currently controls 20% of this country, but he apparently wants that and new territory in exchange for stopping Russian attacks against this country. And Ukrainians don't understand this. Why should he be rewarded just because the front lines are frozen? Russian troops haven't been able to make advances against the Ukrainians, just the same way the Ukrainians have not been able to make advances against the Russians. The front lines for the last year or so have been deadlocked. It is a meat grinder. Both sides are losing a tremendous amount of men, injuries and deaths. But the Ukrainians don't understand why it is why their country that has to give up land and reward the aggressor. Richard, and they're very worried about any kind of security guarantees. E.E.
Green, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. We're not worried about him wearing a suit, Haley. The reason we're talking about the suit thing is because Trump used the suit thing to ridicule. Guys, this is live right now in the Oval Office. We're talking about that because that's what they used to ridicule him last time. So here we are, guys, live right now.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to have the president of Ukraine with us.
Everyone hit the like button.
Yeah, we've had a lot of good discussions,
E. Green, thank you.
good talks.
I'm going to stay quiet.
And I think progress is being made, very, very substantial.
Everyone hit the like button, please.
In many ways, we had a good meeting, as you know, just a short while ago with the president of Russia. And I think there's a possibility that something could come out of it. And today's meeting is very important. We have, I guess, the seven very powerful leaders from Europe. And we're going to be meeting with them right after this meeting. And thank you very much for being here.
Thanks so much, Mr. President. If I can, first of all, thank you for invitation and thank you very much for your efforts, personal efforts to stop killings and stop this war. Thank you. And using this opportunity, many thanks to your wife, First Lady of the United States. She sent a letter to Putin about our children, abducted children, and my wife, she, First Lady of Ukraine, she gave the letter. It's not to you, to your wife. Oh, I want Yeah. So we're saying this sensitive topic. Yes, please. And thanks to our partners and that you supported this format. That after our meeting we can have leaders who are around us, UK, France, Germany, Italy, Finland, EU, NATO. I mean, all partners around Ukraine supporting us. Thanks to them and thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you very much for being here.
President Trump.
Yes, Peter.
Thank you, President Trump. So, President Zelensky,
You say in a post on X today, Russia must end this war, which it itself started. President Trump, you say President Zelensky of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to. Which is it?
No, I think that's true. I think we're going to have a meeting. I think if everything works out well today, we'll have a trilat. And I think there will be a reasonable chance of ending the war when we do that.
And, is this the end of the road for American support for Ukraine? Is today's meeting deal or no deal?
I can never say that. It's never the end of the road. People are being killed, and we want to stop that. So I would not say it's the end of the road. No, I think we have a good chance of doing it. It's been almost 4 years now that a lot of people were killed last week. A lot of people last week. I mean, millions of people killed, but a lot of people last week for whatever reason. A big number, a lot of soldiers, on both sides. And I know the president, I know myself, and I believe Vladimir Putin wants to see it ended.
And as you met with Putin on Friday, today you've got President Zelensky here. As you listen to Russia and Ukraine, which side has the better cards right now?
I don't want to say that. I'm just here to be. Look, this isn't my war. This is Joe Biden's war. He's the one that had a lot to do with this happening, and we want to get it ended. And we want it to end good for everybody. We want it to end good. The people of Ukraine have suffered incredibly.
President Zelensky, are you prepared to keep sending Ukrainian troops to their deaths for another couple years, or are you going to agree to redraw the maps?
Thank you for your question. So, first of all, we live under each day attacks. You know that today have been a lot of attacks and a lot of wounded people, and the child was dead, small one year and a half. So we need to stop this war, to stop Russia, and we need support American and European partners, and we will do our best for this. So, and I think we show that we are strong people, and we supported the idea of the United States, personally of President Trump, to stop this war, to make a diplomatic way of finishing this war, and we are ready for trilateral, as President said. This is a good signal about trilateral. I think this is very good. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes, if the peace deal will be achieved, are you going to be willing to send American peacekeepers to Ukraine?
Well, we're going to work with Ukraine. We're going to work with everybody, and we're going to make sure that if there's peace, the peace is going to stay long-term. This is very long-term. We're not talking about a 2-year peace, and then we end up in this mess again. We're going to make sure that everything's good. We'll work with Russia. We're going to work with Ukraine, and we're going to make sure it works. And I think if we can get to peace, it's going to work. I have no doubt about it.
President Zelensky, go ahead.
Your team has talked about security guarantees. Could that involve U.S. troops? Would you roll down new troops?
We'll let you know that maybe later today. We're meeting with 7 great leaders of great countries also, and we'll be talking about that. They'll all be involved, but there'll be a lot of help. When it comes to security, there's going to be a lot of help. It's going to be good. They are first line of defense because they're there. They're Europe. But we're going to help them out also. We'll be involved. Yes.
Vladimir Putin mentioned that the war will not end without addressing the root causes of this war. Have you had an understanding what are the root causes of this war?
Well, look, the war is going to end. When it ends, I can't tell you, but the war is going to end, and this gentleman wants it to end, and Vladimir Putin wants it to end. I think the whole world is tired of it, and we're going to get it ended. It was, I've done 6 wars. I've ended 6 wars, and I thought this maybe would be the easiest one. And it's not the easiest one. It's a tough one. A lot of reasons for it, and they'll be talking about it for a long time. But they'll be talking about the others. Look, India, Pakistan. We're talking about the big places. When you look at, you just take a look at some of these wars. You go to Africa and take a look at that. Rwanda and the Congo.
Meanwhile, the leaders of these countries say he had nothing to do with solving it.
1 years. And so we've done a total of 6, and we really have 6, not including the fact that we obliterated, and it turned out to be a total obliteration, the nuclear, as you said, the future nuclear capability of Iran. And this one, I think we're going to get solved also. I feel confident we're going to get it solved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can you tell us about your conversations with European leaders and what they need to see to support an end to the war?
Well, we're going to be meeting with a great representative group and 7 very powerful, very big countries, great people, all friends of mine and friends of yours. And we're going to have some suggestions made. They want to see peace. They would like to see peace.
You said last night that President Trump, do you think it's fair to for Ukraine and for Russia to achieve a lasting and durable peace if Ukraine cedes its territories that Russia hasn't yet conquered? Do you think it's a fair peace for Ukraine?
Facts.
We're going to have a lasting peace, just to answer the first part of your question.
But you didn't answer.
We're going to have a lasting peace. I hope it's going to be immediately. I hope it doesn't have to go on. And I think people of the whole world is going to be very happy when that's announced. Jeffrey.
Mr. President, you posted on social media, Mr. President, a very touching letter from the First Lady, and the letter was hand-delivered to President Putin, and it calls for an end to the war, essentially, because of the children and the children's future. Why did the First Lady feel that letter was necessary? Was it because she believes that Mr. Putin is the aggressor in the war? Is a similar letter being hand-delivered to President Zelensky?
So the First Lady felt very strongly. She's watched the same thing that you watch and that I watch. I see things that you don't get to see, and it's horrible. But when she's got a great love of children, she has a wonderful son that she loves, probably more than anybody, including me. I hate to say it, but she loves her son. She loves children. And she hates to see something like this happening, and that goes for other wars too. I mean, she sees the heartbreak, the parents, the funerals that you see on television. Always funerals. We want to see something other than funerals. No, she felt it was a beautiful letter. It was very well received by him, and she did ask me to say, she would love to see this end. She would love to see it end, and she.
This is a joke.
Very openly, very proudly, and with great sorrow because so many people have been killed.
Mr. President, last week, Mr. President.
Yes, sir. I've got a question for each of you. First of all, Mr. President Zelensky, you look fabulous in that suit.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, you look good.
I said the same thing.
Yeah,
wasn't that nice? That's the one that attacked you last time.
Disgusting.
I remember that. I apologize to you. You look wonderful. No, my first question for you, President Zelensky.
In the same suit. I changed you.
Maybe yours is much better than mine. Real quickly, upon peace, God willing we get peace, are you open to holding an election in your country?
Yes, of course. We are open for election, yes.
Oh, my God.
We have to do safety circumstances. And a little bit, we need to work in the parliament.
Zelensky, you don't have to answer that question.
Elections, but we can do security. We need, maybe, how to say, we need a truth. Yes, everywhere, in the battlefield, in the sky, in the sea, to make possible for people to do democratic, open, legal elections.
So you say during the war you can't have elections. So let me just say 3.5 years from now, so you mean if we happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections. Oh, that's good. I wonder what the fake.
You like this idea?
No. Speaking of news, I got a question for you. This sounds insane for me even to ask this, but do you think the American media really doesn't even want a peace deal? Because they've seen they've been so critical of you every step of the way as you lead the charge for peace.
It's an amazing phenomenon. I said that if in the settlement you got Moscow, St. Petersburg, and thousands of miles around them, they would say, I made a bad deal. The level of hatred and animosity is incredible. Not with all.
This is crazy.
We have great people up here. We also have terrible people up there that I think are told what to say. But, you know, in solving all of these wars, they don't even write about it. You know, I saw major wars. I saw wars that have been going on for 31, 35, and 37, and a couple of quicker ones. One that was going to go into a full-blown deal very quickly. You know what the one I'm talking about. It was a big one. But they don't even write about that. No matter what I do, no matter what, and you know, this is not anything to do with you. It's probably to your advantage in a certain way. But no matter what I do, no matter what deal I make, from my standpoint, you'll come out good. Maybe President Putin will come out good. But they'll say, Trump was absolutely horrible. It's just that, and I've lived with that for a long time. I've lived with it since just before the first election. I used to get great publicity. Now I get the worst publicity anyone's ever gotten in office, but I won in a landslide, so the people understand. They're the only ones that count, ultimately. But I've also had great reporters. I've had journalists that are very good. But it's very sad when you do the right thing. As an example, they said, because of the fact that Vladimir Putin came to American soil, this was a tremendous defeat for Donald Trump. No, it was really wonderful that he did it. It was a hard thing for him to do, to be honest with you. It was the opposite of what they said, but they said it. Now, if he didn't come, they'd say that was also bad for Trump. Yeah, there's no way.
I have so much to say, folks. I'm just waiting till it's over.
And I think that's why it's lost its credibility. You know, its credibility is at an all-time low. We have a thing going on right now in D.C. We went from the most unsafe place anywhere to a place that now friends are calling me up, Democrats are calling me up, and they're saying, sir, I want to thank you. My wife and I went out to dinner last night for the first time in 4 years, and Washington, D.C. is safe, and you did that in 4 days. I'll tell you, it's safe. I had another friend of mine. He has a son who's a great golfer. He's on tour, and he came in fourth yesterday in the big tournament where Scotty Scheffler made the great shot, and he said his son is going to dinner in Washington, D.C. tonight. I said, would you have allowed that to happen a year ago? He said, no way. No way. He said,
crime is down in D.C., by the way.
And I think the people realize it. But the press says, he's a dictator. He's trying to take over. No, all I want is security for our people. But people that haven't gone out to dinner in Washington, D.C. in 2 years are going out to dinner. And the restaurants the last 2 days were busier than they've been in a long time.
So I walked around yesterday with MTG. If you can walk around with D.C. with MTG and not be attacked, the city is safe.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last week you warned of what you called severe consequences if a 30-day ceasefire or any type of ceasefire were not agreed to by Russia. Will there be severe consequences? Does that change because of your meeting with the President?
I don't think you need a ceasefire. You know, if you look at the 6 deals that I settled this year, they were all at war. I didn't do any ceasefires. And I know that it might be good to have, but I can also understand strategically why, well, you know, one country or the other wouldn't want it. You have a ceasefire and they rebuild and rebuild and rebuild, and, you know, maybe they don't want that. But if you look at the 6 deals that we made peace, and you know, long-term, long-running wars, I didn't do any ceasefires. Would I like the concept. You know, I like the concept of a ceasefire for one reason, because you'd stop killing people immediately, as opposed to in 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever it takes. But we can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting. They have to fight. I wish they could stop. I'd like them to stop. But strategically, that could be a disadvantage for one side or the other. But all of these deals I made without even the mention of the words ceasefire.
President Zelensky, are you disappointed that there's no ceasefire?
Decision to offer Ukraine Article 5 like security guarantees would stop short of pushing for their full membership.
Yeah, well, we haven't done anything on that yet. If you look back and you go back long before President Putin, it was always a statement that they would never allow Ukraine into NATO. So that was a statement that was made. But we haven't discussed
That's
any
not
of that
true.
Yet. We're going to be discussing it today. But we will give them very good protection, very good security.
That's not true.
And the people that are waiting for us, they are, I think they're very like-minded. They want to help out all.
Thank you, President. Thank you, President Trump. The United States.
Why is Peter talking again?
Of billions of dollars to this war effort in Ukraine. At best, it is a stalemate, and the killing continues. So, President Trump, how much more is the United States willing to give Ukraine? And President Zelensky, how much more do you want?
Well, I'll start off just by saying we're not giving anything now. We're selling weapons. This is something before, I guess the number is well over $300 billion. That was under Joe Biden, a corrupt politician, not a smart man, never was. By the way, go back 40 years. He was not a smart man 40 years ago either. But now he's in particular bad. This was done by a corrupt administration that shouldn't have been in, and frankly, if the
he's going off on a tangent here. He's not even talking about.
Would have never taken place, and he would have been very happy because he would have liked to have seen. I mean, they went through hell. He went through hell. This war would have never happened, and the people that were killed.
This is crazy.
2 million people, a lot of people with soldiers and everything else. And the people that have been displaced and forced into other areas and other countries because of what's happened, none of that would have happened. And I'm just saying that he was a horrible president. Whether it was the borders or this, he was just a horrible.
It's just 100% propaganda here. Are we going to let Zelensky talk?
So, first of all, we have possibility now to buy weapons from the United States. We are thankful for this program and this opportunity. We are thankful for Europe. They pay for this. And through NATO program, for example, Pearl and etc., we have some programs where we can have some money to finance this. And this is a part, I think, it's not a part for the war and to defend us. It also will be a part for security guarantees, to strengthen our army, to rearm Ukrainian army. This is very, very important. And it depends how much money we need to rearm. For example, the question of air defense, we spoke about it with President Trump, and I'm happy that we have now bilateral decisions and we work on it with production, American production. Nobody in Europe has so many air defense like Patriots, for example. We need it very much, and this is also about defending.
I think the good news, we make the best military equipment in the world by far. You mentioned the Patriots. How good are they?
Systems.
We have systems, they're literally 100% foolproof. And it's really like shooting two bullets. You know, two bullets hitting each other in the air in a space like this. The chance is 100%. It's 99 to 100%. So we sell the equipment to NATO. And NATO does what, I don't know what the arrangement is that you have with, but I know that they want you to have the equipment. And we're getting the best equipment in the world, but they pay us for the equipment. Under Biden, it was just crazy what was going on. I believe the number is over 300. I think it could be $350 billion worth of equipment and money and everything else. And we've made more progress in settling this war in the last 2 months than they made in 4 years. This should have been settled a long time ago, but it should have never happened. Yeah, please.
Real quickly, you pushed out on social media.
Brian, go first.
You pushed out on social media about doing away with mail-in ballots and potentially electronic voting machines. Can you expand on that and how important?
Well, that's a very off-topic. Just really quickly, mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have.
You can't do anything about it.
Democracy with mail-in ballots.
No, they're not.
And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything.
This is so hard for me, dude. I have so much to say.
Get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots because they're corrupt and. You know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses them because of what's happened. Massive fraud all over the place. The other thing we want change are the machines. For all of the money they spend, it's approximately 10 times more expensive than paper ballots. And paper ballots are very sophisticated with the watermark paper and everything else. We would get secure elections. We'd get much faster results. The machines, I mean, they say we're going to have the results in 2 weeks. With paper ballots, you have the results that night. Most people, but most people, many countries use paper ballots. It's the most secure form. So between paper ballots, very, very important, Paper ballots.
It's not true.
I think maybe even more important.
The president doesn't have the unilateral authority to do this.
Voting. It's a fraud. If you have mail-in vote, even Jimmy Carter with this
Not
commission,
true.
they set it up. He said the one thing about mail-in voting, you will never have an honest election if you have
The
mail-in
audacity
voting.
to quote Jimmy Carter
Republicans get tough
and then misquote him.
because the Democrats want it. It's the only way they can get elected. Because with men and women's sports and with transgender for everybody and open borders
Oh my
and all
God.
of the horrible thing, and now the new thing is they love crime. They're fighting me on the fact that I've made Washington, D.C. safe. We're not going to get mugged, beaten up, or killed like all the people you've been watching get so badly hurt. I'm glad. I hate to take your time with this, but I'm glad you asked me that question. We're going to stop mail-in ballots because it's corrupt. You know, when you go to a voting booth and you do it the right way and you go to a state that runs it properly, you go in, they even ask me. They asked me for my license plate, for identity. I said, I don't know if I have it. They said, sir, you have to have it. I was very impressed, actually. But it's very hard to cheat with mail-in voting. As you know what happens in California, it's so corrupt, where some people get 5, 6, 7 ballots delivered to them. Now, we got to stop mail-in voting, and the Republicans have to lead the charge. The Democrats want it because they have horrible policy. If you have mail-in voting, you're not going to have many Democrats get elected. That's bigger than anything having to do with redistricting, believe me. And the Republicans have to get smart. We're not going to have a country.
He's admitting cheating right now. Listen.
You need borders, and you need free and fair elections. Those two things. Otherwise, you don't have. We have strong borders now. In 90 days, Mr. President, we didn't have 0 in 3 months. Not one person came in illegally into our country. In fact, even I find that hard to believe, but it's run by a little bit of a liberal group that put out the numbers, so I guess it's, but 0, 0, and 0. You go back a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 millions of people poured into our country. It was terrible. Thank you very much.
What security guarantees do you need from President Trump to be able to make a deal?
Good
Is it
question.
American troops, intelligence, equipment? What is it?
Good question.
Everything. And really, it's
Good answer. Look at Trump's face.
First, strong Ukrainian army. That's what I began to discuss with your colleagues. And it's a lot about weapon and then people and training missions and intelligence. And second, we will discuss with our partners. It depends on the big countries, on the United States, on a lot of our friends.
Mr. President, are you willing to commit American troops to that NATO-like protection in order to get President Zelensky to a deal today?
Well, I don't know if you define it that way, but NATO-like, I mean, we're going to give, we have people waiting in another room right now. They're all here from Europe, biggest people in Europe, and they want to give protection. They feel very strongly about it, and we'll help them out with that. I think it's very important. I think it's very important to get the deal.
You've been involved with the peacekeeping in Ukraine since your first day in the administration. What would you say to the Ukrainian people right now who are suffering under the Russian attacks and hoping that the American people will stand with them?
Well, I know Ukrainian people. I've known many over the years. They're great people. They're smart. They're energetic.
I've known Ukrainian people. So smart, so true. I know them. I know them
We
well.
want to get this war ended. That's all I can do. I love the Ukrainian people, but I love all people. I love the Russian people.
That wasn't the question, you
I want to get the
goof.
war stopped. Very important.
Mr. President, was there any aspect of your discussion with Vladimir Putin that left you disappointed?
Look, we just spoke to, I was just telling the president, I just spoke to President Putin indirectly, and we're going to have a phone call right after these meetings today. And we may or may not have a trilat. If we don't have a trilat, then the fighting continues. And if we do, we have a good chance. I think if we have a trilat, there's a good chance of maybe ending it. But he's expecting my call when we're finished with this meeting. Thank you very much.
Oh, we have we got to talk about some stuff, folks.
To President Trump and President Zelensky inside the
We have
Oval
some
Office.
talking
This
to
meeting
do
taking
here
a
real
much
quick
different
before
turn
we
than
go.
the first meeting 6 months ago when that meeting blew up. Here, both men seem to be welcoming to each other, listening to each other, and sort of working hand in hand. This is one of the first big steps for President Trump in trying to achieve peace
Listening
in
to each
Ukraine. Two major headlines to come out of this right now. The president was asked twice if he would commit to bringing U.S. troops to Ukraine as a peacekeeping force. Both times he didn't commit one way or the other, not saying he would or he would not, but he was asked that question twice. And what just happened seconds ago, it sounds like the president's timeline for this is very fast. He says right after this meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky and the European leaders, he's going to call President Putin. He hopes to have that trilateral meeting pretty soon, is what he said, to get the three leaders on board. It is still unclear what is part of this peace proposal, what is in the plan. Is the land going to be swapped? Is the land going to be taken for Russia? Are there going to be peacekeeping troops there? Still a lot of outstanding questions that we hope to get some answers from. Peter Alexander, our chief White House correspondent, joins me here in the North Lawn of the White House. Peter, it was pretty stunning, right? Each moment here, we're learning more and more. It sounds like the president and President Zelensky are in a good place for now. They were both sort
disagree
of
with this
complimentary
analysis
of each other, if you will.
So the first takeaway, I think, is the tone there, right? Amicable, not angry.
Yeah, so I'm gonna mute that because I totally disagree with the analysis here. Here's what I'm gonna say. I thought that Trump during this meeting was his regular disrespectful self in terms of not letting Zelensky speak. Zelensky barely spoke, answered two questions, I think, although W to the reporter for asking a good question about security guarantees. I want to say, although I love Zelensky's answer, which was, what do you expect for security assurances, missiles, peacekeeping troops? He said everything. Everything. While I love that he said that, that's such a great answer. I'm going to say right here, I very much think, in my opinion, that they're not even close to a deal. I don't think they're close to a deal. I think they are far away from a deal, and I don't think that Zelensky's going to budge on those specific demands. Because he can't, because if he doesn't have the right security assurances, how can he possibly sign a peace deal? That's number one. Didn't really let Zelensky talk much. Felt somewhat disrespectful. My second comment on this while I was watching it was the world is laughing, going on tangents about transphobic bullshit and, sports and all sorts of shit that's totally unrelated. The world is laughing is my second comment on this. I also want to make a very clear statement about Donald Trump's executive authority. This keeps coming up today. The president does not have the authority to unilaterally stop or ban or anything mail-in voting. Okay? Election regulations, which include mail-in ballots, are governed by state governments under the U.S. Constitution. Okay? States have that power to determine time, place, and manner of elections. Now, Congress has the ability to pass federal laws that affect elections. The president cannot override state election laws through executive orders. So that's number 3. Donald Trump says he's going to talk to Vladimir Putin right after the meeting. Of course he is. I don't think there's going to be a deal today, based off what I'm hearing. Zelensky seems to be pretty consistent on what he wants in return here, and I don't blame him. Trump didn't seem to want to commit to anything that was being said, which also indicates to me that in combination with the very quick timeline, he's calling Putin right after this meeting. I don't see them getting a deal done today. The concessions, I don't think Zelensky's on board with either, but I think it's far more about security assurances, and I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. I think it's a combination of both, but I don't think Zelensky's budging from what he initially wanted from the very beginning. And I think what's going to end up happening here, if I had to make a prediction, is they're going to try and make Zelensky look like he's being unreasonable. So that's what I think is going to end up happening here. I think they're going to make it seem like Zelensky was unreasonable. Man, there was so much misinformation in there. I think the most important thing is to debunk this executive order, this idea. But I want you to pay very close attention. I'm having lawyers write up this executive order in very creative ways. Very concerning. Are you talking about trying to find loopholes to exploit election law? I mean, really, really concerning stuff. Look, there's no question, people, that the President of the United States cannot, through executive order, unilaterally stop mail-in voting. That the idea that he even thinks he can do that is very concerning. Executive orders only direct the executive branch and federal agencies. They do not extend to controlling state-administered elections. So any effort to stop mail-in voting is full-blown fascism, authoritarianism. Full-blown. So forget the fact that it's not possible. Look more into the fact that he thinks it is and is trying to do it. You know, it's funny. He brought up in this meeting this stuff about D.C. and said that he's even hearing from Democrats. I can go out and eat dinner for the first time. Notice how he never says any names. He just says this random shit. So now you're federalizing D.C. and you're using executive orders to affect state elections? Do you know what does he not understand what an executive order is? This is crazy. That was crazy, and it was laughably stupid. That's what that was. No, I did not see these two getting along. No, I did not see a respect. What I saw was Zelensky trying not to rock the boat too much. Do you know why? His country's on the line. His life is on the line. This guy could be executed in the middle of Kyiv if this doesn't go the right way. So that's where we are, folks. Those are my opinions on it. I probably would have a lot more if I broke it down step by step. It was absolutely insane. And most of it was not about what actually matters. So we're going to have to wait and see. He's going to have to call Putin. I don't imagine we're going to hear anything until that's done. What were your thoughts? What was everybody's thoughts in here? The executive order, yes, is very concerning. Elections, what? Elections, what? What are you asking? Will there be elections? I have no idea. But what I do know 100,000% is that this guy either doesn't understand executive orders or doesn't realize that you can't use executive orders to eliminate mail-in voting. And by the way, there's precedent. This is idiotic. So, I don't know, folks. I really don't anymore. I don't. That was really embarrassing. This is the best way I can put it. Can you imagine you're everyone's watching around the world. You turn this on and this guy's ranting about something totally unrelated to this. He was asked a question about people dying in Ukraine. And you know what he said? He started talking about how he knows Ukrainians so well. I know them so well. But yet Joe Biden's the one with dementia. Yeah, okay. Laughable. The other thing, too, that we bring up here, Peter Ducey. So, Peter Douchebag was asked. He asked 3 different questions. I don't know what that was about. The guy who was, if you guys want to see a bigger message, the guy who was really disrespectful to Zelensky the last time was actually in asking questions. He actually asked 2 or 3 questions right behind Ducey. So you'll notice who's asking questions, too. It's not like anyone's allowed in there. Right? They're picking and choosing who they're allowing in there. Notice how there was no controversial questions. Notice how they're not bringing up any of the things in regards to JE.
This was not an accident. This was not a rogue.
I mean, Putin just attacked Ukraine this morning, again. So all I gotta say is the stuff about the suit again was stupid. It's juvenile, but yeah. All right, everybody. I'm glad to be able to talk about this and sit through this, and we'll find out how it turns out. We'll see what happens. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. But it was definitely embarrassing. It's almost like, you know, you're sitting at a gathering and there's someone that you vouched for at a gathering to go participate in a gathering of some sort, and you vouched for them, and they come in there and they start fucking embarrassing you. It's just the fact that it's our president. You know, it's just the way that this is all being done is fucking embarrassing. All right, everyone, have a wonderful day. Thank you to everybody who contributed to the gifting goal. Hope you guys enjoyed the live as much as it was rough. I hope you did enjoy it, and I will talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day.